Regular.
I'm just telling you. I'm telling you right now.
What do you think I do? You think I'm fancy? I got the
I don't
screen
know.
right here, but the camera right there.
I hear you. I got this reputation uphold. All right, we'll give some people a chance to pop in, and let me send this out real quick, and we'll be good. Shoot, man, that is
Christian,
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
I heard a rumor about you.
A rumor
Yeah,
about
rumor.
me.
yeah. I was told you younger than me.
Oh, yeah, I'm 21.
Christian's quite young.
That rumor is most certainly true.
I could have sworn you was at least 28.
At
All
least
right.
28. You know, you would probably not be surprised about how much I get that. I get that a crap ton.
Now I'm even more impressed with you.
Oh, well, that's very nice. That's very nice of you. I appreciate it. But yeah, I get that a crap ton.
And I'm
28.
22.
All right, everyone's starting to figure it out. Okay. I'm assuming y'all can hear me, and let me just double check something.
That rumor.
Yep, that is true. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you coming and jumping in the chat, welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet, and welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel, where sometimes things don't work out the way you want them to, but I got my guests, and I see one of them has a cup of delicious coffee, looks like, or something. I don't know what you're drinking there, Christian.
It could be alcohol. You don't know.
Could be just about anything, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just look. As part of Project 10,000, where I'm trying to help myself and other people I know up their subscriber count by 10,000 over the next year, or even with Leon, it might be the next 6 minutes. But we're inviting guests on the show, and also I'm trying to up my subscriber count, so that's also part of it. But anyway, this is the 800th episode of the Morning Night Live, and I brought in a couple gentlemen who I thought would be great to celebrate with me, and especially since we had a really interesting conversation on Saturday with another guy. So we're going to bring on my friends here, Christian Watson and Ruin Leon. Say hello to the crowd.
Hola.
Hello.
Oh, what the hell's going on here? Now, oh, man. All right, I got to fix that. There, the crowds go wild. There they are. There, that's for you. That's for you. So anyway, people in the chat, I say, hey, by the way, Leon, Moon's in the chat. You see that?
Moon
is in the house. You guys can, you can, if you want to see the chat, you can click. I think you'll figure out the screens there.
That's my
Anyway,
child.
I wanted to bring you guys on just to talk about things that happen in the world, things that happen in some of the recent videos you made, and then also a discussion that we had on Saturday, if you want to talk about that. So we'll start with that. Now, for my chat, if you're not familiar with these gentlemen, I did bring a couple clips, just a little thing, just to give you an idea of what these gentlemen are about, and if you haven't already seen them. And in fact, right now, I would say subscribe to both these guys. I got both their links down in the description. But let's start with Leon, and I'm just going to give you just a little taste of what Leon does here. If I can get this damn thing to work. Dang, what is going on here? Oh, there we go. All right, let's try this. There we go. Let's just take a quick look at Leon.
I don't know what's in the water in Sacramento, but please, Black parents, white parents, Indonesian parents, Asian parents, I don't care. If you have a kid and they're about to start learning the world, teach them one thing that is important. Do not pick up anything and write some derogatory shit anywhere, because a camera will likely catch your dumb ass in the act. And once it does, can't nobody help you but God and Satan. And they both gonna laugh at your silly ass just like me. Subscribe to the channel. Y'all like this hoodie? Y'all like that logo? Or go buy my merch, and I'll see you in the next one. I just kicked my chair for no reason.
All right. So that's Ruin Leon.
I mean, was I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. We need to have more advice like that. And we're going to talk about what the hell? Come on, screen, work right. This is
I feel like if you were to get in trouble in school, it would be between God and Satan to help you, and neither one of them gonna help you.
That's right. So Leon looks at the world and looks what is dumb and gives people sage advice about what should be and what shouldn't be. Now, let's take a quick peek at Christian Watson. These are both from their latest videos. So here we go with Christian Watson.
Oh no.
Other projects that are certainly going to balloon the deficit. We have record inflation, but that doesn't matter, I guess. He also said that the budget makes prudent investment in economic.
Oh shoot! What the hell happened there? There we go. We'll fix. Come on.
We have record inflation, but that doesn't matter, I guess. He also said that the budget makes prudent investment in economic growth, a more equitable economy, while making sure corporations and the very wealthy pay their fair share. Well, my friends, I've explored in other videos why the word equity has been bastardized by people who, once again, don't understand the foundations and meanings of words. They just understand what words are associated with. My friends, equity was, I'm just going to be very quick with this. Equity is a 14th century word which in general means to be fair in accordance with the principles of natural justice. The principles of natural justice say that what is mine, what is yours, and there's an imposition upon all of us in society and in the government not to interfere with what is mine and to return to me what is taken from me by those who transgress against my natural rights. That is the idea of justice, simply put. And equity actually is built into this idea. Now, in the 1980s, though,
now I'm gonna stop it here because this goes on for a little bit, but it is for a young man in this world. It astounds me that your knowledge and quick what do you call it? Production of thought comes from so many sources. Because I know when we were talking the other day, and I should have put the clip of us talking to Chaotic Truth because you brought up. You off the top of your head, you were quoting Nietzsche and you were quoting Socrates. You were quoting. I mean, you had all these quotes out of your head, and you had no notes in front of you. So now, first, I wanted to talk about both where do you think you fit in the world of thought as far as the things you do for your videos? I mean, where does some of the things you come from? I know you have, I don't know either of your backgrounds. So if you want to talk about that first, I'll start with Christian though. Tell me a little bit about your background and where you think you fit in the political or social arena, which I find it similar to mine, but I'd like you to describe it.
Yeah, so I'll go background first because maybe that'll help explain a little bit, tiny bit. So I was born and raised for like 10 years of my life in Pennsylvania. I was very used to the cold weather. I came from a single parent household, which is really a challenging thing for any person, any young man, a young woman to come from. But I think that, that experience helped mold me into the person I am today, because I had to very quickly grow up fast. I had to learn and reckon with the hard facts of life and adulthood, like way before most people have to reckon with them. And I really got into politics. I had a fleeting interest in politics since I was a very immature interest since I was like a little kid, like 7 years old. Obviously, I didn't understand it, but like when the election of Barack Obama happened, my family had me at a watch party. And I didn't understand it, of course. All I knew is that it was a black guy, and they liked the black guy. That's all I knew. And now, thankfully, my thinking would become more refined as time went on. But I remember the night Barack Obama won. I remember the light that was in the eyes of my family. I remember how ecstatic they were. And so I presumed, well, you should be ecstatic too, Christian. Well, again, I didn't think in those terms. But as I grew up, I refined my ideas. I refined my beliefs. I was introduced to philosophy and economics at a very, very young age, perhaps 14, 15, through my own independent studies. And it was all upstream from there. Now, about my own political beliefs. So I fall roughly in the tradition of American conservatism that emphasizes the conservation of American institutions as they relate to individual liberty. So I'm not a conservative in the sense that I am a traditionalist for the sake of it, right? That I want women to wear jeans, that I want certain kinds of people to adhere to certain kinds of customs. That's not what I am. Michael Oakeshott said he's a British philosopher in the 20th century. He said that a conservative is he who prefers the familiar to the unknown, the near to the distant. And in a strict sense, that does not define me. I don't mind the distant or the unknown if there's a good chance the distant and the unknown can get us to a better conclusion, right? I don't mind that. So I oftentimes call myself a libertarian because it doesn't confuse people as much. But it's conservative in the American sense because I believe America's principles and our institutions are built off of individual liberty. They're built off the perpetuation of the individual. And therefore, I want to conserve those institutions that want to do those things. There are those that want to conserve just social norms in general, and I don't believe in that. I believe in evaluating everything for its merits, and some social norms are good. I think having strong, intact families is generally a good thing. There are obviously exceptions, but they are generally a good thing. I think having a strong community basis is generally a good thing because it forestalls government dependency. And so in some ways, I do have more traditional conservative values, but in other ways, like for example, I have no problem with people who want to do sex work. I don't think it's per se a good thing, but I don't want to force my view upon them. I've got no problem with things like pornography. There are conservatives that want to ban pornography. I've got no problem with a lot of the stuff that a lot of traditionalists are at uproar against. Maybe personally I do, but not anything like wanting to use the government to enforce my beliefs. So roughly, I'm what they would call a conservatarian. I profess conservatism, but I also have a very strong libertarian core.
That's small L libertarian.
Yes, a small L libertarian with some personal conservative values.
Now, I knew, and like I said, I knew you're going to pull a philosopher in there. I told you, you're going to pull a philosopher quote out of anywhere. All right. Now, Leon, tell us a little bit about either what your background or what you do on your channel, because I'm seeing right now. I see you over there. He got that smirk. You go, you're going to make me do this after that.
First of all, I love porn. Keep the porn. No go away to porn. I love sex work. Wouldn't do it, but ain't nothing against a little bit of payment towards the cause here and again. I'm just a dude on the internet, if I'm being quite honest with you. I don't have no political background. I guess you could say raised in a Democratic type house because I got only one memory of like doing some lame school project. It was like, oh, write about Democrats or Republicans. And the only reason I was about to write Republicans because I saw red and red is my favorite color. So I'm like, I'm gonna do this. And my mom was like, nah, we don't do that. We Democrats. And that's it. Is if you could closely label me as like a kid Democrat, okay, that's fine. I personally believe like they're two sides of the same coin because you got the head honchos at the top, you got people who give their opinions, and then you got all the weirdos at the bottom who be on Twitter complaining about things, thinking that they're right. So not really seeing much of a difference. One side preys on your emotions, the other side just does it and will deal with you after the fact. Other than that, my pronouns are professional shit talker.
So now I know both of you, and I watch both your channels quite a bit. Anytime you put a new video out, although Christian, yours are so long, but you know what? I can't stop watching them. It's good. But anyway,
Thank you.
I want to talk to you a little bit about your channels now, because both of you have taken backlash and from certain things you'd say. So one of the things I asked you before we came on in my message to you was, tell me what your most the one video that you can think of that brought you maybe the most backlash or the most consternation among people watching it. And I'll start with Leon.
Backlash?
Well,
what backlash at?
I wouldn't say backlash. Okay, let me put it a different way. The one that people that who don't agree with you complain about the most. What? Because I know you get some hate in here and there.
Where is that? I don't see it. Because it's in one ear and out the other. I gave up on looking at my comments like every day because it's always, I agree. And then there's the one long paragraph that I'm not reading because I can't read that far. Not going to waste my time reading that far. And then there's been no public outcry about anything I've said because nothing I said is controversial. Sometimes I get called somebody with controversial opinions. I don't know what's so controversial about not respecting, I'm not going to say the word, but the unconsensual touches. I don't know what's so controversial about saying, hey, I support a bill that is not really discriminating against gays if you actually read the bill, which I know a lot of people haven't done. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's controversial about saying, some black people suck at what they do and they just need to figure out a better way to get better. Really, whatever hate comes is from people who don't like hearing something that they don't want to hear. They live in these bubbles of insecurities where people just tell them, oh, you're so precious, you're so great, you're 100% authentic. And then I come around sounding like I'm drunk. Like, oh, no, you suck. No, that's a problem. No, if you don't call it out, you're stupid. And everybody get mad. But hate, in one ear and out the other.
Christian?
You call it hate, I call it fan mail.
That's a very good way to think about it.
Talk good or talk bad about me as long as you're talking about me, right?
Yeah. Well, the video that got me the most backlash, that's a good question. I've made about over 300, I think. And I mean, it's all relative because okay, so I had a prominent leftist YouTuber, Shark Zero, respond to one of my videos about the Supreme Court's the Supreme Court allowing evictions to happen. Back when I think there's something happened with the eviction moratorium. I couldn't exactly remember what happened, but I basically argued that property owners have a contract with their tenants. And that contract, their power in that contract has been suspended under COVID by emergency authority. And this is not only bleeding them money, but that's also immoral because it's a violation of the terms of that contract. Society, I think, in my opinion, is built largely off of contractual relationships. Mm-hmm. And so I argued that, SCOTUS allowing property owners to do what they will with tenants who will not pay, even though those tenants have gotten a flush of government money. And many of those tenants, by the way, during COVID did not take the government money. They just sat there, accumulated stimulus checks, and just didn't pay rent at all. So I said, no, this is a good thing for many reasons, but fundamentally because of the moral reason. And I got, not from my audience, but like from other people who are like, this guy made a video called like Libertarian Ghoul says why you should be homeless. I'm like, that's not at all what I said. What I said is that if you're a tenant and you have a landlord and you're not going to pay rent for about a year, even though the government has literally subsidized your ability to be able to pay rent, as President Trump did in one of the bills that he passed for COVID, but you still won't take the opportunity, then something's wrong with you and you should face the consequences. Whether that's homelessness, whether it's a fine, I don't know. If I was a landlord, you didn't pay me for about a year under the eviction moratorium, even though you had the means, and I was trying to help you get the money that the government basically gave to you, the thousands of dollars, then once the eviction moratorium went out, I probably would evict you if you were continued to refuse to pay. That's just how a lot of landlords are mom and pops who suffer when you don't pay and who could go bankrupt themselves. I mean, there's just so many different factors to that. But it's not me arguing that people should go homeless. It's that people should use the tools they're given to make good on their responsibilities. That got me into some hot water. But other than that, my most recent video about Dave Rubin, a lot of my people in my audience is not like that at all. They actually dislike that. I mean, they didn't dislike it. They just disagree with me because I basically defended surrogacy and I defended gay men doing surrogacy. And for some people, that was the first thing was a bridge too far, right? But other than that, I haven't really gotten a lot of backlash per se from anything that I've done video wise.
Okay. And then as far as I know a lot of you, both of you, I've heard you talk. Well, let's talk about the conversation we had the other day. Which I found fascinating. And I'm probably going to try to have Chaotic on this channel at some point. There's a gentleman named Chaotic.
Do it.
And so there is for us as black men or just black people on the internet doing videos that aren't necessarily in the mainstream of our demographic, okay, and although what is amazing me is that when you actually talk to people who listen to you, they go, oh well, you're right about that, but we're not supposed that's not how it's supposed to be. But anyway, there is a slight genre of people who take it a little far, I would say. And I would say that would describe chaotic. Well, first of all, can one of you describe what the conversation was about? Because it was very interesting. Go ahead, Leon.
I'll do it since I was the one that was the host of it. Hold on, I gotta go to my feed.
I could pull up. There was a part that there was a section that Christian, which Christian's passion came out in.
Yes, it did, and I loved every second of it. But
it's 12 a.m., man, 12 something a.m. I don't know. I would know what was going on.
I just wanted to be known to everybody that this stream initially started about 3 dudes like having a live stream talking about a gay dog and a woman shooting a man in self-defense because she was about to get jumped. That's how that whole started. Then all of a sudden we invite people in, and then Chaotic comes in and he says what he says, and I'm seeing Christian just in the comments like I ain't see his face. I could tell he was mad because he started talking about Maya Angelou being a hoe. I see Christian, I'm like, yeah, Christian mad.
Well, let me stop you there for a moment. Speaking of Christian and that conversation, let's just look at the beginning of Christian's reply to Chaotic.
Oh man,
Chaotic Truth, is that what it is?
Chaotic Truth.
His name. Here's Christian. Because Christian, not only does Christian pull quotes, I mean, man, he pulled quotes out of his ear, out of his neck, out of his head, out of his hip, out of his gallbladder. He got quotes for everything. But Christian also has a tendency to show some passion. So let's look at some passion from Christian.
Understanding. As one of the fellows mentioned before a few moments ago, he mentioned that.
Oh, by the way, this is like, hold it. Let me preface this also. You ever watch a movie and they're trying to build excitement throughout the movie, and the music starts down low and it comes up and it slightly crescendos and then it drops again, and then it crescendos again, and then it just gets epic. This is epic.
Back in the hunter-gatherer period, people focused on cooperation.
By the way, I'm going to remind you too, he's pulling this right out of his head. He don't have any notes. He's just talking. And
also, the whole time, you can't see my face. I'm laughing.
Yes. Okay, here we go.
Well, the reason for that is because the foundation of human society is peaceable cooperation, as the philosopher Hugo Gross just noted in 1625 in On the Rights of War and Peace. That's a fundamental thing that's endemic to our nature. So that's one of the reasons why we're even able to have these kind of platforms, because people have a desire generally to exist peacefully. So I'm not going to insult you, but I'm going to say this. I think the suggestion that it was good to enslave people because that somehow civilized people is a morally rank suggestion which has no place being seriously considered as a method by which to advance people's understanding and knowledge of the world. Because you're essentially saying the Europeans advanced the Africans or whoever else they enslaved knowledge of the world by them. But that's not true. The relationship between cause and effect isn't so clear. Just because one thing correlates with another thing does not mean that thing caused that thing. So I think that's a very simplified view of history. Having said that, I don't care what good consequences an action brought forth.
Look,
if
God
the action
is in the chat.
fundamentally immoral, that action ought to be avoided at any cost. The philosophy that disagrees with this is the philosophy of consequentialism, which I believe you've tapped into in trying to justify the enslavement of many, many thousands of Africans at the hands of their colonizers. So I just think there are quite a few things wrong with your analysis.
Here it comes.
I think that people don't progress under the boot of force or coercion. People progress during hearts that naturally arise. They progress better during hard times that naturally arise. And I think this principle is true for anywhere as well. But even if they did progress in such harsh conditions, that wouldn't justify that wouldn't satisfy the moral part, the moral question that hangs over your claim.
Okay, I'm gonna hold that up there. Now, what this conversation was about, the gentleman said something about how was it good for Black people to have been enslaved because now we got the chance to be civilized over here, and that they were civilized in Africa and all these places where the whole world was uncivilized, and his definition of civilized was kind of crazy, but so now, Leon, I'm gonna let you keep going here because you were talking about what's happening. There you go.
The whole thing started like jovial, but then he comes in, he says what he says, and I let him talk because it ain't gonna be a thing of, oh, you say something I don't like, oh, now you out of here. No, I'm gonna let you say what you gotta say and explain yourself. And I've asked him repeatedly if he was parody, like if he was just trying to clown around. He keeps saying no, so I'm gonna take him at his word. So he's talking, and then he calls Maya Angelou a hoe. I'm just like, okay. That's one. And I didn't know when Christian popped in, but he was mad. And I wanted Christian to come on, and he came on. And for the rest of the stream, it was just not even so much a back and forth, but it was like petty jabs thrown from him and Christian. And I think the funniest part is that I had him on again because he came back again. And I pressed him a little bit. Because the thing he said about Black people being biologically destructive, I wanted to know because he also said in the conversation we were talking about that, oh, he's the chaotic truth, but he started saying that it was all opinions. And we all caught that as you can't have an opinion. You can't say something that's an opinion and try to throw in some stats. Like, is it factual or is it all like from your own thought? And he admitted it was from his own thought. I was like, okay, I'm going to save that. So he comes back and he says some BS that made my mind click. He said he was a scientist of his own merit. And instantly I'm like, that's bullshit. You sound like somebody that likes to say, oh, it's my truth. So that means it's a fact. And I'm not discrediting any experience in his life because apparently he wants everybody to know that he's 37 and that's somehow a point to make. But I asked him, like, are you a scientist? He said, no. I asked him, can you pull up any facts, any article, any statistics that prove that Black people are biologically destructive? And he said no. And at that point, he was still talking about stuff. And at that point, I'm like, you full of it.
So and also what he was doing, he was harboring on the brink of race realism. So saying that, this particular population or this particular, he went strictly by race, does this because of their race. And these people do this because of the race. These people do this because of the race. When
racist, isn't it?
Well, yeah. And so, so I got, when I was all I could think about as I was listening to him is there is a genre of YouTube channels that spend an inordinate amount of time talking bad about ourselves. And there's a difference. I felt like, okay, I want to say to him, there's a difference between criticizing behaviors that are, due to maybe, and a lot of behaviors that we talk about are due to where people grew up, who they grew up around, who they know, what they know, not because they're suddenly that has nothing to do with the race. And so, and so there's a fine line there. So for example, Leon, you do talk about a lot of things that are race related, but not being derogatory to people.
Sometimes I am derogatory.
Well, not derogatory to people for something that they cannot control, that they had no. Well, Christian, you said something the other day that was, you as far as, or it was in one of your videos where you're saying, I'm not going to, you said you're not going to talk about things. What did you say? As regards as people judging, it was about whether or not Black people and white people should date or something like that. And you're saying, well, you can't limit yourself because of something that you've never had the chance to control. You can't control what this looks like. You never had to control that. You didn't have a choice, and but you can make other choices in life that have nothing to do with that. So, but he was saying things like, well, he went into that race realism shit, and I was like, that was crazy. Christian, you got anything to add on that?
Oh yeah, I'm not. Look, as you mentioned, there is a certain genre of people that like to do that, and they exist in many different forms. Maybe some of you will know them, maybe some of you won't. But you have people like, I hope mentioning names is not going to be bad here, Pete. But you got
I don't care. You name who you want. Some people agree, some people won't. I don't care.
You got folks like Tommy Sotomayor, if any of you are familiar with him, who basically made his fame off of attacking black women ruthlessly. He called them, and this is his language, not mine, hair-hatted hooligans. He would basically just pull up certain videos of black women fighting and make that generalization of them. You've got other people like David Carroll, who is a black guy who smokes a cigar, talks about how black women are bad as well. Some would argue that Mr. Kevin Samuels is also someone who is very harsh on black women, although personally, I don't personally, some of the things he said are fine, but some of the things he says are just a little bit out there. I mean, there's an entire genre of people that are black who appear to just want to attack other black people. And look, I understand that there's a market for that because, look, there are legitimate problems in certain areas of the country. I don't want to say black culture because I don't think that exists. I really don't. Because again, someone's culture is going to depend largely on where they were raised. If a black person is raised in rural Iowa, they're not going to have the same culture as someone raised in inner city Detroit. That's the thing. So we have to try to quantify what black culture is, and I've not been able to do it. People have pointed me to like soul food. Okay, so I love soul food, by the way. Soul food's good. I had some sweet potatoes yesterday. They're really good, man. But white folk in the South cook soul food as well. That's why the South is some of the highest. They season
their chicken in the South.
Yes, yes.
I joke about white people never.
There are big old fat white folk in the South frying chicken. I mean, some people say
they're like pork bellies and all the Cajuns in Louisiana. Oh man, you got Louisiana, they season everything.
Yeah, we do. So is that a black thing or is it more of a regional cultural thing?
No,
some folks might point to hip hop or rap, which you have more of an argument there because hip hop is typically dominated by black folks. But again, does something that is dominated by people of a certain color therefore make that something applicable to most people of that color? Of course not. That makes no logical sense. Mm-hmm. So perhaps not even rap is black culture. 90s R&B. I love 90s R. Oh, what's that?
You know what?
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
Leon, I have that same.
Yes,
I have a jar of Slap Your Mama seasoning in my cupboard. In fact, the chicken I was making the other day, yes, black people, we do like chicken.
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
I was using that. So anyway,
that's some good stuff. But yeah, then you have some 90s R&B, right? And look, I love 90s R&B. You know, I'm sure you remember Dawg, SWV. You know, On Vogue, Mary J. Blige.
Sure.
That is my music right there. That's my music.
That's me in my 20s. and when I turned 30. But
so yeah, there are certain things that you can look at and say, okay, black folks across this, because like I can go up to a black woman in America who's from America, and I can mention Mary J. Blige, and she'll probably know who she is. Okay, maybe that's some kind of cross-cultural commonality. But again, all of these things are just loose, isolated things that don't create a cohesive culture. A culture is not just certain things that you do or listen to. A culture is something much bigger and richer than that. That's why I don't believe black culture exists. But he was trying to say that black culture has a problem. And I asked him, like, okay, look, let's walk down this road together. If black culture has a problem, please define black culture for me. He couldn't do it. So I'm still trying to figure out what in the world that means. Now, if you're going to say that in the inner cities, where a lot of African Americans tend to live, there's cultural problems there. Oh, yes, there are. There's gang violence, there's drug violence. Oh, yes. But that's a very different statement than saying black culture, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, there's a difference just where you go. Regional. There's regional culture. You know, I look at, you know, my father, my dad that I grew up with, because I was adopted, but I grew up in a black family. My dad grew up in a small town in Iowa where his grandfather was a farmer, and there's a completely different culture in that small town among Black people in that town versus in urban Detroit, or on the south side of Denver, or in LA. There's all kinds of different cultures, and obviously one of the unifying cultures maybe within our country, for example, is maybe music culture. So you get a taste of different, but here's I'll give you the example. In the 90s, there was the big thing between East Coast and West Coast rap, right? But they had distinctly different feels to them. The gangster stuff came out of the West Coast, where in the East Coast you had more cerebral people like KRS-One and Common and different people that it was a completely different style. So you can say that those are two different cultures within a genre. But what he was saying that was, oh, well, Black people litter. Like, I grew up in a neighborhood that my parents, basically founded because back when there was actual redlining, they decided, well, we're going to go make our own neighborhood. I grew up in a neighborhood of Black people that all the best, nicest lawns and cleanest, backyards were the Black people in the neighborhood, So that was the culture of where I grew up. It's not necessarily Black culture. It's more, your surroundings that have a lot more influence.
I agree.
Can I just say?
Yes.
On the stream, why I had him back again, because we was talking about the Will Smith thing. Well, anybody want to take a guess at what he said in response to that whole Will Smith thing?
Who is that? Oh,
Chaotic.
Oh, chaotic. Okay.
Not Black folk.
Because Will Smith walked up on stage and slapped somebody.
Yep.
All Black people need to be banned from the Oscars for the next 2 years.
Hey, real quick, let me shout out to Canon Hotep, who dropped a super chat. Thank you, sir. Welcome to the chat. Says Convo shout out, and then Wingstop. Fire Convo. Shout out to Wingstop. So I think he was I don't know, with you're familiar with Wingstop, right?
Yeah, I love Wingstop.
Yeah, Wingstop's good. If you want some quick wings, they're good. They're good. I like them.
It ain't better than Wing Zone. I'm just saying. Wing
right,
Zone
so
got a little bit more.
But that thing he said there, so that all Black people should be banned from the Oscars. So as if, now I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with Sean Penn so much as I am, because he's more of a actor from an era I am. Sean Penn was known to get into some ruckus, when he was still popular. Now, was there a reason that we should ban all white men from the Oscars, from award show? Or there's another example, Jim Carrey was escorted out of the Golden Globes because of his behavior. Should we ban all white comedians from award show? I mean, it's just silly that he would say that. And Oscar's so violent. I do have to laugh though, because I don't even remember the first person I heard it from, but it was funny when I heard it talking about how the Oscars turned into the Source Awards, which, I mean, that's a funny joke, but other than that, yeah, but that was the thing he was, that's the kind of thing he was saying. I'm trying to, oh shoot, why is my Streamlabs not opening up? I'm trying to get, some people are putting Streamlabs donations in here too, and I haven't been able to read them though. But anyway, so now question on this note though, have you ever been accused of having that kind of take and as a channel?
Me?
Either of you?
What would take?
Well, as one that of being in that type of genre, have you ever been accused of that, or because I know the accusations of, well, you're just trying to parrot the white man, or you're just trying to parrot this, or you're just trying to cater to an audience of people who
every day.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, look, here's what I'll say. I've gotten called a grifter Not as many times as Leon probably has, or my lovely friend Gothix has. I mean, but because
What?
you guys get hit more, and it's really, it hurts when I see it. But I've gotten called a grifter quite a few times, especially after I've gone on left wing channels to debate. And I just think to myself, dude, there are so much. There are, first of all, where's the money at? If I'm grifting, where's my check at? I don't see no check. I don't see, where's my check at, man? Number two, there are much easier ways to make money in the world than going on YouTube and talking about philosophy for 20 minutes on average. So if this is a grift, then I'm pretty damn bad at it. But you know, I have gotten called Uncle Ruckus. I've gotten called the C word. COON. I hate that.
You can say it on my channel. You can say whatever you want on my channel.
I hate that word. This is disgusting.
I hate the word. I don't, you know,
you know what's funny? Christian, you getting called Uncle Ruckus? Guess what everybody was calling Chaotic Truth? Uncle Ruckus.
Uncle Ruckus. By the way, real quick, let me do this real quick. Thank you, John Arnott, for dropping a 5 in the spot, who says happy 800th. Thank you, Attack Alpaca. Congrats on 800. I'm happy to have been a part of your audience for about 2 years of your run. And thank you, Tyre Alexander, a brother in the chat, saying, my mom told me this fact, and I hold today. There's no such thing as black or white music. There's only what you like, what you love, and what you hate. Shout out to the sexiest black YouTuber on the internet. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No.
Oh,
I saw your little promo video. I want my reparations for you lying.
Okay. Ruin Leon's moniker is the sexiest black YouTuber, so I'll give you that, since that's what you promote.
Look at that. I got the shirt to prove it. I got the hoodie right there.
There you go.
What type of sex symbol you know got their own cartoon on their own merch?
No one.
But
nobody.
So yeah, no, I there were plenty of people calling him Uncle Ruckus in that chat.
Oh yeah, I've been called.
And like, I'm looking at Ken Hotep saying here, dude sounds like a grift troll. He comes off that way. Like, is he doing that? Y'all just talk common sense, as far as I'm concerned.
That's racist. You can't do that. You can't talk common sense.
But I'm thinking that I really do think that he is kind of a grift troll.
He's doing a pretty bad job of it.
Well, I don't know how new his channel is either.
I've seen his channel. It's not impressive at all. He has an okay setup.
I'm glad you said it before I said it, because
it's not.
I thought my setup was shit.
Yeah, it's not impressive. I mean, look, I don't. Anyone who puts themselves out there on the internet is bound to get some kind of criticism. They're bound to make someone upset, and so I respect anyone who wants to put their content out there. But if you're just going to push, I'm just going to be very frank with you, bullshit, then I'm not going to respect. I'm not going to respect your content. His content.
Say it, Christian. Bullshit. Say it. Don't add no A to that.
It's the British way of saying it. It's more. I don't know.
Say it the dirty black way. Bullshit.
No.
Put emphasis on the B and the U. Bullshit.
Yeah, but yeah.
So now a couple things. I was going to talk about some stuff in the news too.
Oh yeah. Moon did send me something for us in this 800 episode. I need to send it to you.
I know. I gotta find it. I haven't been in the Discord to see it yet, though.
Because I don't know if she sent the same thing or something different.
Oh, I don't know. I've got to look. I'm looking at this weekend and see if I can post it somewhere. So let's talk about a few things in the news. I'm just going to go into the Explore tab on Twitter here and see let's see what's trending and see if you guys have any opinions about anything right now. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was the war in Russia and Ukraine, because Christian, you put out an interesting video about Mr. Zelensky, the president of Ukraine.
Yeah.
Let me first, I guess, I ask you both: do you have a side in this? Are either of you flying one of them blue and yellow flags in your Twitter bio? Are either of you's got a flag hanging off your car? And if so, Why? And if not, why not? Why not? Isn't that the patriotic thing to do right now?
I'll let Ian go first.
I would be brutally honest. You could be mad at me. It's perfectly fine. I haven't paid attention to that at all. Once that one woman got on Twitter and said, "Oh, Putin, if I was your mommy," I gave up. Like, I can't do it.
Yeah, the Vladimir Putin, if I was your mommy. Yeah, I remember that one.
And the only thing that's really been affecting me is these gas prices. So whoever side ends up creating a less gas price, that's the side I'm on.
But you know, the president has told us as of yesterday that if you buy an electric car, okay, if you go out and buy an electric car, because you can save $80 a month buying an electric car.
I'm glad you said that. I got a video just for that next week. Because isn't it funny how a year ago it was, well, we got to help all these marginalized people. What's the one woman name? Water?
Maxine Waters?
Yeah, ain't she out and about telling homeless people to go home? Like, it's funny now that you got all these people who's like, kumbaya, we got to help. Now it's, hey, if you ain't got it, you ain't got it, sucker.
But it's a booming economy. How can you not have it in a booming economy? You need to buy an electric car so you can save $80 a month. You can save $9,600 a year. Oh, no, excuse me. I'm sorry. Did I say that right? $9,600 over 10 years if you buy an electric car today, because you can save $80 a month. $9,600
pay my electric bill.
If you buy a $60,000 car that you have to replace the batteries in 5 years, you can save $80 a month.
You gonna pay my electric bill?
Or the extra car payment, or the extra insurance that it costs for an electric car.
Oh.
I'm sorry, we were talking about Zelensky.
Yeah.
Chris, tell us about your opinion on Zelensky. And by the way, please be sure to subscribe to these two young gentlemen. And I call them young gentlemen because I'm an old man. Their links are in the description down below.
Yeah. So Zelensky, a few things about him. He is the epitome of moral outrage, of false moral outrage. I understand that he's the president of a country that is currently under siege, but I also understand a few things as well. I understand that Zelensky actually put himself in the position that he's currently in, partly. Why do I say this? Well, because back in 2021, the summer of 2021, Zelensky went to the White House. He had a meeting with Biden. This is his first, I think, his first meeting on United States soil, and they talked about a lot of things in that meeting, and among those things was Zelensky being admitted, his country being admitted into the ranks of NATO. Now, Biden didn't consider the idea seriously, but he also didn't dispute it as well. A few weeks after that meeting, the NATO Secretary General, Jens Stoltenberg, basically released a statement saying Russia should not be threatened if Ukraine joins NATO. Now, Stoltenberg understood that if they have another NATO power on their border, they wouldn't like that. Vladimir Putin had said several times this would be a red line from him, and he would act if it happened. But the Secretary General of NATO saying, "Oh no, he shouldn't be worried at all. It's a defensive alliance. Don't worry about it. If we decide to bring Ukraine in, then it'll be fine." And this was the problem. NATO played hot potato with Ukraine for so many years since Crimea. They didn't address the issue. They kicked the can down the road, and now they want to act outraged that Putin did what he said he was going to do, that the bear finally bit when the bear was approaching all this time. It's ridiculous. It shows a lack of foresight actually not a lack of foresight, because they knew this was coming. It shows a lack of it shows a willful ignorance of their own incompetence. That's what I would say. And it's now immersed the world into a chaotic state where the Russian people are practically severed from the world economy. Athletically, they're basically severed from being able to compete. They are even more boxed in than they were before. Putin already has a totalitarian regime over Russia. He controls their media. He controls the kind of stores that are in the country. He controls their social habits. He's in parts of Russia have banned and brutalized homosexuals. And now that they're cut off from the free world, basically he's nationalizing assets of other companies that operate internationally. Russians basically have to rely on state-controlled industries to survive now. This is an absolute disaster for a sphere of political influence that supposedly wants to promote democracy by enshrining a group of people back into authoritarianism, totalitarianism. And so Zelensky himself understood all of this, in my opinion, based on his actions. And yet, instead of reckoning with his own mistakes, he has gone around over the past few weeks basically telling the parliaments and congresses of all the countries that if you don't help me, you are aiding in terror. He went to Germany and the Bundestag and said that you said never again for the Holocaust, but it's happening again. How disgusting. The Holocaust is a very unique event in history that obviously the Germans don't want to ever have it happen again, but he basically said that what's happening in my country is a Holocaust. He came to America and invoked 9/11. He went to Canada and said, what if your children were being bombed? He has said to Israel, who has tried to mediate peace between Russia and Ukraine, that you cannot mediate between good and evil, and yet Zelensky sitting down having peace talks with Russian emissaries. You can't have it both ways. The guy is sanctimonious. In my opinion, he's a fraud, and he is one of the reasons why this situation is being dragged out as long as it is. Putin is evil, is bad, and Putin wanted Ukraine for a very, very long time, but Zelensky's incompetence is not helping. That's my take. That's my very short take. I can have more to say. That's my short take.
Leon, you got anything to add?
I've been told you, whichever side ends up with my gas prices going on too.
Well, here's the problem too. If Putin is successful in forcing certain countries to buy Russian oil in rubles, that ain't gonna help us either. That's gonna cause more hyperinflation. But that's a whole nother story. Real quick, thank you, Select a Boy, with super chat says, thought I'd drop a big bomb for 800th episode, and also nobody should let their skin color enslave them in doing anything, from doing anything they want within reason, of course. So thank you very much for response to the show, Select a Boy. So now just one quick question, Christian, because you're probably following a little closer than anybody else. Do you believe that Zelensky is actually in Ukraine right now?
Probably. Yes. So there's a lot of theories.
All the green screen videos? With all the green screen videos?
Well, presidents use green screens all the time to broadcast messages. I mean, I have no reason to doubt that he's in Ukraine, because I do know that leaders of Poland and several other European nations went to Kiev, and we saw them go to Kiev. They were on the train. We saw them walking around Kiev, and they met with Zelensky there. So I have no reason to doubt that he's in Ukraine. That's not what concerns me. What concerns me is that he's on the computer going around the world and virtually and basically bullying countries and supporting them and calling them terrorists and purveyors of evil if they don't. That worries me more than his actual location, because he's basically ubiquitous.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let's move on to another topic. It was a story I did yesterday, because apparently in the British cycling world, so we know that Leah Thomas has taken the world by storm as far as hot topics on trans athletes and where they should play in their sport. And then now in Great Britain, I did a story yesterday. There's a trans woman named Emily Bridges who was going to be allowed to participate in a qualifying race or something like that over in Great Britain. Big cycling, track cycling, and it's, for whatever reason, it's big over there. As of today, the day before the race was supposed to happen, Emily Bridges has now been disqualified. So obviously this is a hot topic. Trans individuals in sports. Any hot take on that? Leon, I know you're paying attention to this. You got to be.
I don't know who's going first, me or Christian.
Go ahead, Leon.
You go.
Your turn.
In terms of Leah Thomas, I'll be honest, I'm not really much against it. I'm more so of the mindset of, why are y'all trying so hard to like prop up transgenders, but also talking down on like the biological women who aren't having the sex change? Because they got videos of people like criticizing everybody who's criticizing Leah Thomas. And one of the main things they talk about is, oh, you can't find any women saying anything about this. It's like, no, they got people. There was a woman who wrote a letter and then got suspended on Twitter because she's somebody who's actually competing in that and didn't have a spot. You got her teammates saying stuff out loud. And the response to them is, oh, you're being transphobic. There's some woman on TikTok who responded to all the criticism and saying that, oh, anybody who's on her team, who's on Leah Thomas's team, you don't want to shower with her, you don't want to be around her, you should be kicked off the team. It's like, you really think like on a team full of swimmers, the smartest idea is to kick off everybody except one?
Yeah. Well, I have my take is evolving, and I'm actually gonna do a video about this. I believe that you should not allow men to swim in women's sports. Now, let me clarify. I'm not talking about Leah Thomas, although I think that I think when you talk about sports are physiological, not psychological. So we should concentrate on separate sports by physiology, which is what has always been. However, since the NCAA rules are the way they are, if you're familiar with when this started boiling up during the Ivy League swimming championships, and Leah Thomas won 2 events there, but lost the 100 to a trans man who is physiologically female. I believe now that maybe they should take that championship away from the trans man. If trans men are men, trans women are women, then Leah Thomas should have been the rightful winner of the 100 freestyle in the Ivy League swimming championship. So if we're gonna, there's not a consistency. That's one of my problems. But also, I believe that sports are separated. We've never said in human history that we're separating these sports by psychology, and apparently, since now we're deciding that the trans part is a psychology thing, it's a subjective decision, then let's separate sports by physiology. That's been my take all along.
Yeah, and look, I'm interested in the conceptual underpinnings of this issue, because Leah Thomas's inclusion into the NCAA and the broader conversation around trans folks in sports is cloaked in the language of equity. In fact, USA Swimming's press release after they released their requirements, which were much more stringent than NCAA, if Leah Thomas had to abide by the USA Swimming's requirements, whatever you say, Leah Thomas would not have been able to participate per se. But NCAA quite literally just like skewed the numbers to make it her able to have him able to have whatever. Will have a higher. I don't know anymore. Sorry, I don't know anymore. Able to have I don't know anymore. Able to have a higher testosterone and still participate, which I think USA Swimming's figure was like around 4 nanomoles, and then NCAA is like 10 nanomoles, and the average woman has between like
5, and the NCAA is 10, which
and now the average woman has between like 2.4 to like 5 nanomoles or something like that testosterone, I think. So obviously you get let someone with 10 nanomoles come in, you're obviously putting them on disadvantage in just that. Plus, you don't even mention the bone structure, bone density, all that kind of stuff. But this has all been cloaked in the language of equity, and that shows just how much language has deteriorated. Because equity used to be, and I've mentioned this a few times in the videos, it used to be known as the process of being fair according to the principles of natural justice. There used to be an empirical, objective, falsifiable basis for what it meant to be equitable. Now, ever since the 1980s in the sociology, and actually a friend of mine sent me an excerpt from an Oxford sociology handbook where they actually explain this. In that handbook, the sociologists actually say that their conversations about justice begin with John Rawls. Now, for those of you not familiar with John Rawls, he made a book called The Theory of Justice. And what he basically advocates in that book, among many other things, is a huge tome. He advocates distributive justice. He advocates giving to people who don't have much on the basis that you're morally obligated to give to people who don't have much, regardless of your relationship to them. So sociologists begin with that idea of justice, and thus that leads into the idea of equity as we have it right now, which says that equity is based off of the distribution of resources and pulling people up, not ensuring that fairness happens in accord to natural justice. We see that same kind of flip, conceptual switch happening right now as you talk about equity in terms of women's sports. And that's concerning. When you can manipulate language to fit your personal definitions as opposed to adhere to their objective meanings, you can justify absurdity. And it's absurd that someone who's able to take 10 nanomoles of testosterone, 10 nanomoles of testosterone in their blood could ever swim against biological women. It's absolutely absurd. It shouldn't happen.
Well,
they should have their own league, in my opinion. They say that's discrimination, and I guess what? Sometimes discrimination is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. We discriminate all the time in our lives. Discrimination is necessary to ensure boundaries and limits are set. I discriminate against people who I let in my life, and therefore you should discriminate against people who. Women's sports is actually built on discrimination because a fully blown man who's not transgender cannot just go and try to participate in women's sports. Now, if they become transgender, even if they had surgery, like Leah Thomas, they can. So even though they're still, man, I'm not going to start preaching, but it's a travesty.
Okay,
It's a travesty. I am sick. There are women who compete for years, who get up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m. I've seen them. I've known them. They compete for years to go into these very harsh professional leagues. And now you have this person who, according to a few of swimmers on their team, goes around the locker room with their penis hanging out, flipping around, and still likes women. So you got a man who hasn't even transitioned, who still likes women, who is showing his penis around in the locker room, making them uncomfortable, destroying team cohesion. It's just like, my goodness. When does the manipulation of language and its interaction with reality ever stop? When does it ever stop? When does this contrived feeling of benevolence that you get from harming the obligation you have to ensure other people are being fairly treated in the league that you assign them up to at NCAA, when does that begin? It's been completely erased and sacrificed on the altar of benevolence. And that's...
Christian, that was awesome.
I gotta click that. Yes.
No, your passion is why I watch your videos, Christian. That is
Hopefully
why.
not the only reason.
Well, also because you can pull. I mean, I don't even remember which philosophy you pulled out this time, but you pull the philosophers out of you. You must read a lot. You read a great deal.
Yeah, my books. I got books. I got all kind of books on my desk right now. I'm really more so. I went to the comic book shop. I've been to the comic book shop like 5 times this week. I should stop going. But I picked up so many different kind of comic books as well. So like I read philosophy books, I read comic books, I read everything. I actually picked up. I'll show this. I have a thing for 1980s comic books. I don't know why, but they're just so cool. I picked up this one right here.
My formative years.
Yeah, Camelot 3. Basically, it's about Arthur Pendragon from the Tales of King Arthur comes back to life and fights aliens on Earth. It is so fascinating. So yeah, I'm a big nerd too. But yeah, I like to read all kind of things.
All right. Well, that's awesome. What do you read, Leon?
I read the Japanese version of comic books. I read anime, or as it's called, manga.
Manga.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's cool.
Right there.
Are you do you read Japanese or do you read English translation?
I gotta read the English version. I'm not fluent in Japanese yet, but I will be. Give me 2 years. I'll give you a full sentence.
Outstanding.
Speaking of that, I have tried, and this is very weird. I have over the past few weeks or so, I've gotten into K-pop. And the thing is this, because I have a thing for boy bands in general. I've got a big thing for boy bands, whether they're American boy bands like Big Time Rush or Backstreet Boys or what have you. What's that? Bye Bye Bye. What's that? NSYNC. Oh yeah, I liked old Justin Timberlake before he did that to Janet Jackson. After he messed with Jen, I can't do with Justin Timberlake anymore. That was foul, man. Just ripping their thing off like that. But
no, wait a minute. You know that shit was planned.
What happened?
That shit was planned.
You think it was planned?
Well, here's what I think. I think it was supposed to come off. There's a piece on there. If you look at it, there's a piece that was supposed to pull off, but it ripped the entire thing off. So I don't think it was an accident.
Oh,
I mean, I think what happened was an accident, but the move was planned. But the part of the part of the costume that was supposed to open up ripped a little more than it was supposed to. That's what.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Anyway,
Interesting.
so
But yeah. But so I've been my white privilege card. But so yeah, I've been listening to EXO a lot. Someone mentioned EXO. I'm listening to EXO. They have this song called Smile on My Face. And I just the entire song, it's like Shamama. Nah, I can't even understand the words. But in the middle of the song, they're like, I did it all with a smile on my face. And I'm like, I can understand that. And everything else just sounds so happy. So I've got them on my playlist. I mean, I am just immersed into this world of K-pop now. Well, not immersed, but I'm getting there, which is interesting because I listen to classic rock and R&B, and I listen to like people like R. Kelly. Well, not anymore. I can't listen. I can't listen to R. Kelly. And man, bump and grind used to be my thing. I swear, I used to be my thing. But I can't listen. Yeah, I can't listen to that anymore. It's too good, man. It's too good. Keith Sweat. Oh my gosh. Anyway,
so you're basically talking about music that was popular when I was in my 20s and 30s. Because I grew up the 80s and 90s, but I thing is when I was young, like in the 70s, because I'm like I said, I'm old. In fact, my birthday's Monday. Everyone here, come back on my birthday on Monday and say hi. Anyway, I grew up around. All my friends were white when I was a kid because when we moved out, we had black people in the neighborhood, but there were no black kids. So all the kids I was white. So my next door neighbors, like they were into Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and all that stuff. But and they were like into Kiss. So I'm like, I'm hearing all this music, but then I'd go to church and, my friends from church, because I went to a black church, and they're listening to Ohio Players and Earth, Wind and Fire and all that. But in the 80s, MTV, and there was a distinct, almost a line between what my black friends and what my white friends listened to, although there was the pop music included some of both genres, right?
Yeah.
You get into the 80s in the MTV area, everyone's fascinated by MTV. And once MTV started bringing in Michael Jackson, started bringing us on black acts, everybody listened to everything in the 80s. So you had, so all the stuff that you're talking about, if it was on MTV, everybody liked it. But anyway, that's a fascinating thing.
Oh yeah, Luther Vandross, Patti LaBelle, all of them. Oh yeah.
Man. Oh, yeah. But you all are about the age of my kids, and sometimes I'll go to, let's see what my kids are listening to. And they're listening to music from my era that I never even introduced them to. Like, so that when you said you're listening to, you listen to 90s boy bands and R. Kelly and all those people, I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Oh yeah.
See why you think you see why I thought he was 28?
Because
his music.
Oh yeah. No, I know. All right, hey, here's what I want to do. In the chat, I'm gonna take the last about 10-15 minutes here and just take questions from the chat if you have for my guests or for me. And so if you
hold on a quick moment.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I don't know what is he doing? Okay, whatever he's doing. If you have questions in the chat for either me or my guest, go ahead and put questions there, and I'll pull them out here as they come on. Now, out of curiosity, what got you into the manga stuff, though, Christian? How did you discover that? Is that just from people?
Oh, the 90s stuff.
The manga, the Japanese comic book.
Oh, I don't do manga. I don't do manga. I do regular comics.
Oh, that was Leon. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, we got our first question, but Leon, where did Leon go? Anyway, I'll wait till Leon gets back. We take questions. Go ahead and keep putting questions in the chat, and we will we'll ask those as they come along. Also, I might have a surprise for you guys.
Oh,
if we'll see if it happens. I'll worry about that in a minute. I'll go ahead and throw these questions here. Ebony Williams asks for Christian and Leon, wings or ribs? That's really for all of us. Wings or ribs?
Wings. I like a good slab of ribs, but I haven't had ribs in maybe like a year or two. Whereas whenever I can get my hands on wings, I will eat wings. They're delicious.
Okay.
I love wings. Yeah.
And you're in the South, right? You're in like, aren't you in Georgia or something like that? Where are you from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I live in the Twin Cities, Minnesota. But when I answer that question, it depends on where I'm getting them from. Okay, if I'm in Kansas City, ribs all day. That's the first thing I'm thinking about. But there, in other places, I'll get ribs. But okay, the first question, Leon, you weren't there. Wings or ribs?
Wings? What type of question is that?
There's a question in the chat. That's what we do on the question time. It could be about it.
It must be somebody from the Midwest asking something like that. You don't ask somebody from the South if they like wings or ribs. It's
Oh,
wings.
if your choice, wings or ribs?
Wings.
Oh, come on, man.
What you mean? Come on, wings.
Well, you're. It depends on what part of the South you're from.
I'm from the dirty South. Wings.
If I was in Memphis, I'd say ribs. If I was in Kansas City, I'd say ribs.
See, that's the mid area. That ain't no South.
Okay. All right. Next question. Let's see. I'm scrolling down here looking for question marks. Put extra question marks so I can easily find them. Let's see. Jada Clay asks, my favorite singer is Howard Jones. What are your thoughts on him? Do you know anything? You even know who Howard Jones is?
Nope.
Is that
I'm young.
Yeah, that's serious 80s stuff. Is that whoa
Somebody asked me, I'm reading your chat. Somebody asked me what my pink hat at is right here.
Oh, your pink cowboy hat. Right on. There you go. Which one do you think? Pink cowboy? Okay. Favorites. Let's see. Let me find some other questions down here. I'm sure there's some coming up. Where are the questions? Y'all need to ask some questions. Oh, here's one. A Rotten Corpse asking if, oh God. Okay, first of all, question: sweet or unsweetened tea? I don't even have to ask this question.
What I miss?
You're both from the South. Sweet tea or unsweetened tea?
Oh, I don't. My tea got to be hot. I have a Bigelow cinnamon stick tea right here. I like mint tea. I like hot tea with honey, lemon, things like that. I can't do cold, sweet. First of all, sweet tea is diabetes, and we don't need that. So unsweet tea, it tastes like dirt sometimes. I want hot tea. I want hot tea that tastes like I'm sipping heaven, and while I listen to some K-pop. That's what I like.
You're not from the South, Leon.
You might well cut off 2 of my fingers and give me a needle because I'm gonna be a diabetic with it. I like me some sweet tea.
Oh man.
All right. Let's see. This is a question that comes from another channel that I hate the answers, but I bet you get the right answer though. Is cereal soup?
No, cereal is cereal.
Thank you. Christian's about to say something.
I mean, technically,
no.
He's getting cerebral on me. Watch.
It's not okay. It's
give me
not.
Give me an answer with a philosopher in it.
Okay. So cereal is typically wheat immersed in milk. Technically, it has the same base as typical soup does, because soup is typically like a broth base with vegetables or meat in it. So it has the same kind of form.
Okay, Christian, I officially hate you now.
Again, I don't.
I can eat. Listen, if you've never eaten Cheerios right out of the box, you're still eating cereal. So there you go. There's your answer. No.
Well, okay. Okay, yes, you're right. That's shredded wheat though, so we don't do that.
Shredded wheat, damn. Let's see. And then the other, oh God, no, oh, good God. This is another one of those. This is one of the questions you hear on the Ranting Monkey about: do you tongue butter or turtle cave? Shut up! Don't answer. Don't ask that question. These guys don't understand that shit.
Hey, Christian, is water wet?
Is water wet? I've gotten that question too many times. No, because wetness is a quality that can only be felt or seen on on surfaces that were not previously wet.
So you mean
so if you're going so like if you're in the middle of the ocean, what is wet? Obviously
the water?
No, because you obviously are not going to experience. I'm not trying to sound dirty here, but you're not going to experience wetness in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah,
you don't experience that because everything around you
depends on who you're swimming with.
yeah. You gotta come up to get some air, and what you think you dry as soon as you come out?
No, when you hit the air, obviously you're wet.
Yeah.
But like when you're in an environment surrounded by water, you're not, because again, it's about you have to have something else.
You're being consumed by the wetness, though.
What do you mean?
In an environment that's 100% wet. That's like if you say if you get into a
but it's not
Jello, you're not gonna feel the Jello.
I understand Christian's point here. Water in and of itself is not wet,
right?
Because it's not in a sensation. Wet is a sensation or a combination of things, but the water itself is not wet. Okay, we're gonna move on because my brain's breaking on that one. Ruin Leon, your favorite manga?
Attack on Titan.
Say it again in English.
Attack on Titan. That was English.
I'm like, this sounded like all right, moving on. Christian, do you read comic strips, specifically Peanuts by Charles Schulz?
No, I don't read that. You can send it to me though. I mean, it sounds interesting, but I have a lot of. In fact, let me do something. Let me do something.
Speaking of which, my daughter has a comic strip.
Let me do something. Okay, let me do something. Hold on. I have, and this is just a tiny portion. Shit. This is just a tiny portion of my comic book collection.
Wait, time out. Did you just say shit?
This is
four. Did you hear that?
A tiny portion of all of my comic books. Mighty Mouse, got Black Canary. That one's the 50s. Got Black Canary, got Aquaman. They're falling out of my hand. Got Wonder Woman. So this is just a tiny portion of my very big comic book collection. So I read all kind of comic books, but I literally will just go to the comic book store and I will like just go back to the bargain bin in the back and just like buy 10 or 15 of them. Yeah, I have a problem. I've been in the comic book store 3 times this past week, and I don't know how much I've spent, but like I've been buying 1980s. I have a problem, man. I got a problem.
By the way, shout out to people in my chat who've never been here before. I see Star Sands in the chat. I see Lord Feynman. Moon's been here a couple times. Z Highness, a few names. Star Sands, I watched a couple of your videos. You have some good stuff going on there. Let's see. Question from Annalyn. Do you not? I'm not sure if I understand the question. Do you not believe that due to the rejection of and by white culture did not create black subcultures? I'm not sure I'm following what the question is. Can you reword that? I'll find that. Drop it down somewhere else there. Dawg, have you noticed the apparent resurgence of old hair metal? I haven't really noticed it. You guys familiar with the hair metal bands?
I'm young.
I know, but Poison, Motley Crue.
I've heard of the Motley Crue.
I know Motley Crue.
Ronnie James Dio.
Ronnie James. Oh no, hold on. Ronnie James Dio was a master. Don't Talk to Strangers is a beautiful song. All the Fools Sail Away. We are the innocent. We are the damned. They'll disappear, never to be seen again. And all the fools sail away. They sail away. They sail away. And he goes like, way. He was an absolute master. And don't talk to strangers. Don't talk to strangers, because they're only there to do you harm. Don't dream of women, because they'll only bring you down. I'm sorry. I love Ryan James Dio.
That's all right. The only Don't Talk Strangers I know is I think that's the Rick Springfield. Right? Don't talk to strangers.
No, I love Ryan James Dio. I am a fan.
Somebody said Dio is not hair metal.
Dio's not necessarily hair metal. I think hair metal is like Striker and, like I said, Poison, Motley Crue, whatever band Sebastian Bach was in. And actually, Bon Jovi started out as a hair metal band somewhat. Anyway,
Bon Jovi too, yeah.
Moon, my barber does my hair, and then sometimes I wash it with all my conditioner.
Oh, that was the next question. Who does your hair? Quick, thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite, dropping a deuce in the tip jar. You guys mentioned Tommy as a black man who downs black people by showing video evidence of black female fuckery. I believe what he is doing is pointing a mirror to our community. He's describing the women he grew up around, and then he throws in a.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy's his shtick has been always tearing down black women. Now, in some ways, you can understand what he's talking about, but I think he generalizes so much. Because I grew up with a black woman that's nothing like anything he describes. So, I get you there. Let's see. Someone, one of you sounds like I'm getting a little feedback. One of you has the volume up. Hey, Leon, who does your hair? You already answered that. Let's see. What's your favorite kind of breakfast food?
Bacon.
Bacon. Christian.
Pancakes are very good. Buttermilk pancakes are very, very good.
Now hold on. You make your own pancakes, or you get like the Eggos?
Oh no, I make my own pancakes.
When you make your pancakes, do you make them with flour or Bisquick or pancake mix?
I use Aunt Jemima.
Aunt Jemima.
My man.
Yeah, I'm a Bisquick pancake person, but that's because I'm a talented chef. Anyway.
Yeah.
Here's a question: football, basketball, or baseball?
I don't watch sports.
Come on, Broncos fan, tell us what you think.
I'm being if I'm being a little bit honest, I'm feeling good about myself right now because my basketball team doing good, my football team doing good. I don't watch baseball. I'm gonna say now football.
Okay. Why
Broncos to the Super Bowl?
Aren't you from like Louisiana or some stuff? And you're a Broncos fan? How did that happen?
Well, the Saints are the worst team in NFL history. Their fan base is the most cancerous, right next to the Dallas Cowboys. And honestly, just one random day, I just turned on football, and the Broncos was on TV. And I was like, oh, I like their uniforms. That's gonna be my favorite team.
Okay, because I grew up a Redskins fan because I grew up in Nebraska. We didn't have a professional football team, so I was.
That's offensive. They're called the commies now. Am I lying?
That, you know what? That's the first time anyone's called them that.
Am I lying?
The Commodores.
Are they not called the commies?
They really are, and that is it's unseemingly appropriate. Now, I was a Redskins fan growing up, and there's no Redskins team anymore, so I just watch football. But I'm a basketball guy. I coached basketball for 30 years, so I love.
Who's your favorite basketball team?
I don't have one anymore. I was, I'm a wave rider, although I never really liked the Lakers or the Celtics. I appreciated them for what they were. But when the Bulls had their run, I loved watching the Bulls. I love watching, the game's changed a lot, though, because that's when people beat the crap out of each other.
The Bulls doing their thing right now. They're a little bit decent.
They're good, but I just don't have necessarily a favorite. I'll watch the Timberwolves just because I live in the Twin Cities. And I enjoy watching Golden State. I kind of like Brooklyn just because the assemblage of the players they put together, but I don't have necessarily a favorite. I just like watching the game. All right. Beef ribs or pork ribs?
Neither.
Pork.
Yeah, I pork spare ribs are it.
Yep.
Beef are nice and short ribs, whatever, but beef spare ribs. I don't like baby backs. I prefer the spare ribs because you got more meat, and if you smoke them right, that's some good eating. All right, real quick. Someone there says cereal is soup. Damn it, avocado stably. Come on, man. Let's see. Best singer of all time. Oh my God. That's tough.
Michael Jackson.
Mike, look, I have an immense respect for Michael. I was listening to Human Nature the other day.
But
He had a beautiful voice. He had a very good performance quality.
but
He was the best. He was the best. He was the best entertainer of all time. That's
but
what I'll say. So there's no one can do it like he did. Not a single person. Having said that, the best singer of all time. Now let me be from a technical viewpoint. It's either going to be Freddie Mercury or Celine Dion.
huh?
Oh,
No, I'm serious. From a technical viewpoint, either one of those, either Freddie Mercury or Celine Dion. And I'm tempted. I'm tempted to say Freddie
you
Mercury.
didn't say Celine Dion.
Celine Dion had her vocal range is ridiculous. I love Celine Dion.
I can't stand Celine Dion. Freddie Mercury, man, talk about a talent and could do so many things. That's such a subjective thing anyway, because there's a thing going on Twitter right now, the best front man or somebody, or it's about best front man of the band. And so I think Freddie Mercury's up there. If you want to go a completely different direction, I love Etta James.
Beautiful. Sunday Kind of Love, At Last. Beautiful. Etta James is beautiful. Yes.
If you want to go most talented musician, there's nobody more talented than Prince. I'm sorry. That man is amazing. Even if you don't necessarily like every song he does, his range as far as instrumentation and his ability to do so many different things, unmatched. But it's tough. That's a tough one. What's your favorite singer? Great. The greatest singer? There's so many that you can choose.
Michael Jackson.
Great entertainer, but not the greatest singer.
Oh, what?
He's
Celine.
That man was a great singer of a group, and he was a great singer by himself.
A great singer, but not the greatest singer.
Start saying Prince. Nobody wanted your opinion.
Yeah,
Prince is not the greatest singer.
Prince, the greatest,
has a place in my heart.
Prince may be one of the greatest musicians of all time, in the same category with Beethoven, Mozart, Gershwin. I put him in that category of a musician. That's where, he's one of those very rare in a lifetime musicians. But
I saw Ken and
Prince
ask a question about
the Controversy album is really, it's just, oh my gosh.
Oh, it's amazing. His repertoire is amazing. It goes from as far as one of the great guitar virtuosos that he doesn't get credit for being. Go through YouTube and listen to just his guitar solos. It's amazing. All right, let's move on.
Man, hold on. Before we move on, I see somebody. Second option, Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra is very talented.
As far as I prefer Tony Bennett, but
Tony Bennett. I found my love in
that area. Listen. Oh, here's something funny too, because when my kids were little, they were arguing in the basement one time. This is like in the late 90s. They're little, and that they're arguing in the basement, right? And so, and it was very rare for my kids to argue, but they were arguing about something. And my wife went, "Oh, it's about what they were going to play on as far as music." And one wanted to play, I think, Britney Spears, and one wanted to play something else. I didn't care what it was. So my wife goes downstairs and she pops in a Dean Martin CD. And my kids wore that shit out. They played that over. They knew every song in that they loved it. And it was just, that he was also a great singer. But of that era, I think my favorite was Tony Bennett. Sinatra's great. If you're in that era and genre, I should say.
Yeah, no, Tony Bennett.
Sam Cooke also. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I've been on the Sam Cooke binge lately.
This hatred for good music is upsetting my soul.
Yeah, Tony
right,
Bennett.
Let's get a few more questions before we have to close this out. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
No. Hell no.
No.
I can tolerate it on one type of pizza, and that's it. If you're doing a Hawaiian style pizza with ham and pineapple, I can tolerate it. But otherwise, no, it does not belong on pizza. All right, let's see what else. People are having an argument about beef and pork ribs.
I got one that I saw that we missed, or maybe I was away.
No, go ahead.
Who was Canon Hotep was
Canon
like,
Hotep?
how does the algorithm work out for y'all? Because he was getting beat on. I just post videos. I don't know no algorithm studies. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, send me money so I can teach you the ways of how to be great on YouTube, because that's a scam. I just be consistent.
Okay. On that note, let me do this because because I'm already past my time, but I can go a couple more minutes here. On that note, as far as YouTube, and I'm starting something for myself called Project 10,000, where I'm trying to get my own subscriber up to 10,000, but I also want to support other YouTubers and help them at least either grow to 10,000, which Christian, you're right around 5,600 or something like that right now. And I know Leon's at 171,000. I checked this morning. I'm like, damn, I remember when you were down when you had about 10. But anyway,
I remember when I had 2.
And so just as far as that goes, people in the chat, please support the YouTubers in this stream. If you have not subscribed to them, Leon and Christian's links are in the description down below. Go check out their channels. Just watch a couple videos. You know, don't choose on just one. Watch 1 or 2 videos, and I'm pretty confident that if you watch me, or if you don't watch me, if you don't like me, you might like them. And I highly recommend that you subscribe to them. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. It's that little button down below the screen there, and I'm trying to get to 10,000 before my 1,000th episode. So I'd appreciate your help. And also, one thing, at Canon Hotep too, same thing. Subscribe to Canon Hotep, subscribe to Star Sand. People whose videos I've seen that are in the chat, I appreciate all of you guys, and we need to support each other. The best way to beat the algorithm is help other people. Post their videos when you see them. If you like a video by somebody, put it in your Twitter feed, put it in your Facebook, and tell your friends and neighbors, because that's you don't need the algorithm if you share everybody's videos. So let's get with final thoughts, because I have to go do my afternoon gig. So we'll do final thoughts, and then we'll get out of here. Christian, final thought that you want to bring up?
Well, look, this was a wonderful show, wonderful appearance. Thank you for inviting me on. It's been fun, Leon. Thank you. It's nice talking to you as well, my dude. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Like, it's just been you have a good operation going here, and I look forward to seeing you grow and go to the stratosphere even more than you are now.
Outstanding. Leon.
Michael Jackson's the best singer. Bacon is the best breakfast. The Bulls are probably not going to win a championship this year. The Broncos are winning the Super Bowl this coming football season. Bank it, timestamp it, do whatever you got to do, and come back to it when I was right. P-Dog, I like this setup. I want you to grow. I want Christian to grow. I don't want Star Sand to grow, because Star Sand is me. I'm making an exposed video on Star Sand. Christian, I'm going to try to sneak you in Chaotic in a one-on-one debate. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'll do it.
And just make sure you message me when that happens. I'll be watching anyway.
I want them too, like, for however long they want, to just have a conversation with each other. And ultimately, it don't take you a long time to be successful when you don't suck.
All right. Like I said, check out Christian and Leon on their channels. Links in the description down below. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for today. Oh, and also, you know what? And like I said, Canon Hotep Star Sand. I've kind of attached myself tangentially to Hotep Nation. So Hotep Jesus and Uncle Hotep also. If you see a Hotep in the name, check them out too.
Hold up. One question. What
Yes,
the hell is Hotep mean?
I'm gonna explain it to you at another time. But if you want to go to hotepnation.com, there's a good explanation about it. Basically, self-actualization, self-determination, and self-improvement. You start with yourself, then you get to your family, and then you get to your community. But you got to improve yourself. It's just like when you're on a plane, and if the cabin pressure goes down, you take your mask and you take care of yourself first, so that you can help others grow. So that's basically that's the most watered down, simplified Reader's Digest version of what HOTEPS means, and that's what it means to me. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. As you know, if you haven't done so already, hit the like button, share the stream before, during, after the stream. If you're watching on replay, put a comment in the comment section so I can say hi. And thank you for people who sponsored the show today, including John Arnott, Attack Alpaca, Tyre Alexander, Select a Boy, and Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
Thank you for being here today, ladies and gentlemen. Time to go. My name is Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Let me see if I can figure out. Oh, I forgot. I have to. Here. I'll play my. Where's my outro? I think this is it right here. There we go.